Hello and welcome to the Winners Find a Way show. I am your host, Trent Clark, serial entrepreneur, three-time World Series coach. I am a global speaker, wrote the book, Leading Winning Teams, and I got a special edition today called Winning Ways. This is a how-to, and I've got my man, Brant Pinvidic. What's up, buddy?
Hey, man. Good to see you, bud.
Oh man, so good to see you. Listen, so for people who don't know, who haven't been living on the big blue ball, Brant Pinvidic has pumped out 52 weeks, 52 countries, just returned back to the States a month ago. I mean, it's crazy, man. That's an incredible trip. And hey, real quick, because I know we're gonna dive into the 3-minute rule, one of New York Times bestseller book. This guy's got best-selling stuff all over the place, Hollywood exec. You're going to hear all about Brant, but walk us through maybe the 3 big takeaways that you man. You talk about thickening up the passport, bro. 52 countries, that's crazy.
New country every week.
Yeah,
right?
You did 52 countries, 52 weeks, and even worked in there a couple of times, a couple of trips back to LA. You did a couple of things. For people who don't know, Brant sold in The Biggest Loser, The Bachelor. He's an amazing Hollywood executive, been out there a long time. This guy's a phenomenal guy from the stage. Will be with us actually in Entrepreneurs Organization West Michigan, September 25th. You are not going to want to miss that because Brant will be live in person. And if you're really blessed and privileged, you might hit that retreat with Brant and Trent up in Northern Michigan, and that will be off the hook too, man. We don't mess around, bro. So talking about this, Brant, I tell a lot of people, you're a Canadian, I'm an American. We love North America. It's an amazing place for us. Brant just spent some time up near his home, Vancouver, maybe the most beautiful city in all of North America. I highly recommend it to anybody, and at least to visit for sure. And now here you got, in the States, we got a lot going on, but I tell a lot of people who complain about this place, I'm like, you better thicken up your passport and go find out because it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we went to every major country, lots of small countries. I worked, I played, I had my family with me. It was a huge mission to get across. And what you realize is a couple things, as bad as you think the media is, it's worse because the world is a great place, man. Everybody in the world is just living their lives. 99.9% of the people are having regular days, going to work, doing their things. It's not chaos. It's not awful. It's just not what you think. And the places that you hear are bad or violent or problems. No, it's not really like that on a day-to-day basis. And I use the analogy. It's like the Serengeti. We did a big safari on the Serengeti. And when I landed, you take a little bush plane in there. And I was a little bit nervous, walking from the airport to the Jeep, and the Jeep's open. You're like, oh my God. Yeah. Because I've seen Discovery Channel all my life. You know what I mean? I've listened to the English sounding announcer talk about the fight for life and death on the Serengeti. And I'm thinking the second we leave here, it's going to be chaos. And just these poor animals just fighting to somehow survive today. Right. And you get out there and it's no, it's so calm. It's so peaceful. There's lions just laying around over here. Wildebeest on this side over here. They're not the lions only hunt every 3 days or so, and they go after one, and it lasts a couple of minutes. And so we're watching cheetahs chase these gazelles, and literally 100 yards off to the side, the gazelles aren't even moving. And you realize all of these animals just spend their day doing normal stuff. Every once in a while there's a skirmish, but that's it. And that's sort of the way life is for people around the world. It's they're just living their life. And I will say that, man, America has really blazed a trail. Everybody in every country is living off the amazing innovation, the entrepreneurial spirit, what our Western world has created in a commercialization. And you kind of demonize that a little bit and corporate and all that stuff. But every single place we went to had every single convenience and way of life, sort of things that made life function. Everywhere had these things. And it's because America commercializes these products. And for whatever you say about that, it's allowed the world to live wonderful, convenience, connected lives. And so it was surprising how easy it was to live in all of these countries at any time. The life is so similar for everybody.
When you talk about that, I mean, you're meeting fabulous people, and I think it's one of the greatest benefits of what you and I do in this world, right? Is we go get to meet these people who just love and celebrate innovation and what we've done and all these things in our lives, and interacting. What was their impression of America? Are they joining our media like, oh, it's effed? Are they like,
No,
this is
not at all. First of all,
amazing.
they don't care. Like nobody cares about politics like we do. Like it's just like they don't talk about it. They don't think about it every day. It's not like that. They have a few
Yeah.
curiosities. Again, like we're trekking in Rwanda to the gorillas, and our guide is like, "Hey, so Trump won the election. Hey, like how's that going for you?" Because it was just a curiosity. A, B,
Yeah.
Americans, like I'm Canadian. I have a Canadian passport. I have a green card in the United States. My kids are American citizens, and they have American passports. And I would say, without question, the American, I was always trained to, like, if I was going to go travel overseas, to have a Canadian pin so people don't think you're American because they might be mad. It's the total opposite. It's like America, everywhere we went, they're like Americans, because at first they think we're like Germans or Australians because they see a lot of that in Europe, right? Or Russians. And so in the rest of the world, the Australians, the Irish, the Germans, and the Dutch and the Russians, they're the loud, angry, annoying tourists, right? Americans are cool. They love Americans. Everywhere we went, we were totally welcomed. They were like so interested, and like every time I'd say, they're like, "Where are you from?" We're like, "From like California and Los Angeles." They're like, "Oh, Los Angeles." They were just, everybody's so happy, and they treat us so well, because I think, the obnoxious, loud American stereotype is like, it's pretty hard to get those types of people to travel to India, right? Like you're in India, you're not seeing that, but you'll see a lot of Russians, and they are, or if you're in Indonesia, you'll see a ton of Australians, because it's, a couple hours away, and they're young and it's cheap. And so they come and they rowdy and wild. So we had no problem whatsoever.
That's awesome. I love it. So let's get into a little bit of something you talked about, right? Which is media. I mean, you've been a Hollywood executive. You've sold these massive shows. The Bachelor's still running in like season 37 or so. Now we got a senior Bachelor, right? Like it's crazy. And Golden Bachelor, my bad, Golden. So there's just all sorts of stuff going on. It's been an institution, Bar Rescue, another institution, Biggest Loser. Obviously we're just a culture that always needs to talk about health and wellness. So there's a bunch of stuff going on. Now, one of the things you're talking about is like this media, like we have this influence, but to make this market into this world, and this is going to attach to us entrepreneurs, is like we got to influence people and quickly. We don't have a half hour. We don't get the luxury of a 90-minute meeting where everyone's just can't wait to hear every one of your ideas. You got 3 minutes to make this influence. You write this book, the 3-minute rule. So on today's Winning Ways, we're going to talk about the how-to. How are you going to influence? And if you miss this, then and you want the whole story, then you'll have to jump in September 25th up in West Michigan in Grand Rapids and hear Brant do some live action, because that's like the real goods, man. But like, let's hear a little bit about how that got started, and like how this, like, people got to understand this.
Yeah. So listen, Hollywood at its core is storytelling, right? Like the movie magic and the special effects, that's all cool. But at the end of the day, it's a storytelling medium. And what gave Hollywood the sort of huge, massive advancement on every other piece of pop culture in every other country, in every other world, anything, is the ability to tell stories effectively. And so we in Hollywood had that exclusive skill since the dawn of time as it relates to Hollywood. Eventually, people in other countries and other industries, you start to learn the storytelling techniques, and it changes everything. So you'll see like other countries now start to have more film, higher level quality. And it isn't because they have new technology, it's because they learn to tell stories better. And if anybody's been on Netflix and you've watched a foreign series and you're like, yeah, that was really good. It's like, yeah, because they learned the storytelling process, right? And so as
Bollywood,
someone who,
right? I mean, Bollywood's a good example of this, how they come hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, even in Europe, you can see like they're so much better in their storytelling structure. And so as a guy who kind of grew up for that, spent 30 years in that mix, that was so ingrained in us. And it was something called the 3-minute rule at the time that I coined in the edit bay, because we'd watch a scene that we had filmed and it would be 6 minutes long. And we loved it. My camera guys watch it, the story editor, the editor's been working on it for a week. I know what it's supposed to be. We're in love with it, right? And someone would come in and they'd be like, ooh, it's a little long. And we're like, what? This is amazing. Like, how could we cut it? Because, and it's because you get so close to the material and you know it so intimately. So every little detail becomes so important. And that's why no one in the history of mankind has ever watched a director's cut of a movie and thought, wow, that was really important that I saw those extra scenes, right? So we would start to learn and be like, hey, this scene has to transition 3 minutes. And that was like the hard, fast rule. And I'd come in there and they would show me something that was 3 minutes and 42 seconds. I'd be like, no, it's got to be 3 minutes. Like we can't. And sometimes less. And so I started to develop that system. And then it was just a random happenstance at a bar in Los Angeles. I was talking to family was in town and I was pitching them shows that the networks had passed on and said no to. And I was like, so I'd pitch them the show and they were just so blown away. That's the best show I've ever heard in my life. I can't believe that. And so that, my ego's like, I am really smart. And so I would pitch more shows. And somebody overheard and he's like, sorry, I didn't mean to overhear, but man, can you teach my clients to do what you do? And I was like, no, I can't teach people to sell TV shows. And he's like, no. Can you teach my clients how to pitch their ideas to investors and not put them to sleep? And I was like, I have no idea. So I went down to Florida, his big investor conference, and I saw one of his main guys present, and it was a $2 billion oil and gas company, public company. It's the worst thing I'd ever seen. 22 minutes of rambling and torture. I had no idea what he was saying. He's asking me
for feedback after.
I'm like, so I had to watch it again, which was painful. Tried to stay awake. And after I said, okay, hold on. I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. You're telling, did you say that at $37 a barrel, these other companies in the area are laying down their rigs, but you can go to 32 because of these leases, right? That's what you said. And oil's in a free fall at the time and everybody's panic. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, it took you 17 minutes to say that. Like you started with like, I was the former chief ecological officer of Chevron for 14, And so I reordered some of his slides. And what was funny is that, nobody would ask questions. It was just a dead room. The next time he pitched, I had reordered his slides and he was a little discombobulated because he'd have to look at the screen to realize what slide was next. And it was like it was awkward, but the information was clear and he got a ton of questions and he was so stunned, right? Like it was like a totally different experience. So he says, hey man, I got it. Like, will you come redo this whole thing for me? I was like, I got a job. Like, I don't, So he flew out to LA on the weekend. We worked together and I just did it like a TV show. Broke the story out, right? And we worked together and then he'd left a message on my phone like 2 or 3 weeks later and I could hear the emotion in his voice. He's cracking up and he just said, you've changed my life. I used to hate going on the road. This is the worst part of my job. And now I'm raising money. We finished our raise. I'm excited to talk about what I do. I'll never forget what you did for me. And I had to it affected me, not because he was emotional, but because no network president had ever said anything like that to me in my life, right? Like there are things is like, on Bar Rescue, the first note I got on the first pilot was, this is the worst piece of shit I've ever seen. Do you even know how to make television? Okay. And so and the investment banker who connected us was so happy. I have another client for you. And I realized that I liked that process of helping businesses learn to tell stories effectively and quickly and efficiently. And the results were better. And it wasn't even 2 years. I had written the book. It went number 1 and I retired from the day-to-day of television because it's like, this is a better world for me. And so I help companies and CEOs and sales teams hone their messages into the best 3-minute structure, like I would any other Hollywood story or pitch or scene, so that they can get the most impactful 3 minutes to their audience, because that's all you get. There's so much science behind how we as human beings process information that you don't have more than that. Like that's the best case scenario. I tell people it's not just getting to 3 minutes. That's your best case scenario. If you tell the perfect story, you might be able to keep your audience from thinking yes or no in their head for about 3 minutes, because scientifically by that time they are 100% thinking I'm going to do this or I don't want to do this. Right. So that's how it started and it grew from there.
I love this, man. Like, first of all, so like this is our live. I'm coming live from Fort Worth, Texas. Brant's coming live from Whistler, BC right now, ready to take to the streams of Whistler and bring on some big catch today, man. Like, it's gonna be awesome. And so, man, when I talk about this stuff, man, like what I really want the audience to understand is, let's get a little structure on how to, right? Like, I got to do this. I got to go out and I got to go get, I got to go sell a client, or I need to fund this project. And what's about structure? Do you have like a 1 through 5? Like, this is where it's got to start. Let's go there.
Yeah. It's called the WHAC method. Okay. WHAC. What is it? How does it work? Are you sure about that? And can you actually do it? That's the 4 structures. Every pitch, every presentation, you put through that filter. You can literally start today. It will change every interaction you get. If you look at the W, what is it? This is the hardest one for people to get, because when they pitch an idea, when they walk through the place, they want to do everything else first. They want to talk about the size of the market. They want to talk the history of this. They don't want to get to it. They want to build some anticipation. I mean, I've lost the ability to understand what the hell people are thinking, because it's that simple. What is it? Can you just explain it? I am a personal trainer that helps A-list celebrities get ready for blockbuster movies, action roles. It's like, okay, now I know what it is. And that's where people really stumble, because they don't want to just say, I am an insurance broker, right? I am an electric vehicle controlling manufacturing. They don't want to just, like, that's what you want. And the problem is, you don't want to do that because you don't think it's interesting. You don't want to do that because it sounds too simple, right? Your audience needs to get that before they do anything else, because you can talk about what you do, why you do it, how you do it, what you do, what's your emotions, all that stuff. And they're going, oh, okay, he's an insurance, like, they sell insurance, right? Oh, okay. Like, oh, they're an AI healthcare company, like that. They need to get that in. So it's like, your job is to fill that in. So what is it? What do you do? That's it. What is it? And what do you do? Right.
And in fairness, you're telling them right out front a little bit of the end game, because I'm going to give you the context in the next 2.5 minutes.
That's right.
But this is who I am. This is what it is. And I need you to know this in the front time, and I'll tie it up in a bow at the end of this 3 minutes. But
it's not
in all context,
I'm not making claims, right?
That's right. In all context now,
what is it? I'm not making claims. Okay. I don't say I am a personal trainer that trains A-list Hollywood actors for major movie roles, and I've done blah, 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 blah. I don't do that yet, right? All I'm saying is, this is what I do. This is the core of what it is that I do. Simple. And so here's the exercise to do that. It's the most difficult. I have spent huge companies, 13 people at a board table, and write this on. We are Lamar Holdings is a blank that does blank. And it has taken them 2.5 hours to agree on what those 2 things that fit in there. And if you ask everybody in your company to do that, like, if you ever run a company right now, you would be stunned at that exercise. Stunned. When you send them around, be like, just fill this out. So the exercise that I tell people to do is, like, take 15 words. Pitch your idea in 15 words. It is a, software that allows blank to blank. Like, it's an unbelievably good training exercise to get the what, because you can't fluff it up, right? That's what. Then it's like, how does it work? How do you do that? Okay. I just told you what I do. Now I want to be like, here's how I do that. And it's like, if you can do those 2 things, like Hollywood, I'm a personal trainer, helps A-list Hollywood actors train for blockbuster movies. Okay, now I got, like, what do I want to know? I want to know, how do you do that? How do you train them for action movies, A-list actors? Okay, well, I move into their home for 6 months before the role starts. I'm with them 24 hours a day, so they can't miss a workout. They can't miss a meal. They can't cheat. Okay, now, in 2 sentences, in those 2 structures, you pretty well can fill in everything else. If I left the room and never told you another thing, your brain is already processing it. But notice what I didn't say, or what that pitch doesn't contain. It doesn't say that I do CrossFit or free weights or I use keto or any of those things. Like, none of those facts and figures are out yet. And I tell you, 90% of the people in the world will start with those facts and figures. I graduated from this thing as a personal trainer. I specialize in free weights. And you're like, I don't care about any of that yet. I just want to know what you do and how you do it. Clean, not promoting. I'm just saying that. So now think about it. You know, he's a trainer. He has A-list actors. He moves into their house. And you already know the method now. You're like, your brain's on it. If once you get those two things, now, after that, you can go to the are you sure? And are you sure is like, do you have any facts or figures or logic or reason to explain why you do it that way? Right? Like, what's your historical elements, right? Like, what's your reason? What makes that, gives it some solidity? And it's like, yes, I trained Hugh Jackman for Wolverine. I trained The Rock for this, Mark Wahlberg for this, right? Like, now those actors that he trained, you're like, oh, okay, you do it at that level. Think about it if I had started that pitch with, I trained Hugh Jackman for Wolverine and The Rock for Fast and Furious. Okay? You're instantly thinking to yourself, what do you mean you trained him? What does that mean? Oh, you're the only trainer? Like, how many trainers did he have? What part of that? Like, your brain does not allow you to be like, oh, you must be amazing, right? Because if you start with a grand claim and then try to back it up later with facts, I dismiss everything. I don't believe you. It's like, now you're trying to like win me over, right? It's like, only when I say that now, it's like, now you know that if I'm using that example, that means like Hugh Jackman was getting ready for a major action role. I lived with him. I must be the main guy. And it's like, I still haven't told you whether I use free weights or CrossFit or whatever, right? Like, I still haven't told you that stuff because it doesn't matter yet. That's not in the first 3 minutes. Like, I don't need the minutia detail yet, right?
So you nailed out the what.
What?
Yeah, you've nailed out the what. You've nailed out the how you do it. Are you sure? It's kind of like your credibility indicators. Not like, hey, I need to go through the whole thing. But this is, are you sure? You can be sure of me because of I've done this before. I got these
3 studies. Like, we did 3 studies. Okay, here's the results. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, got it.
Like, I built this before. We had to run a business, and like anything. It could be anything. It could be a startup you've never done before, but you can be like, the marketplace has this much room. Instead of starting with like, there's a $2 billion opportunity in AI, whatever. It's like, I do this. This is what our AI company does. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to cross-reference all these things together. And it's like, these 3 companies have done this kind of valuation. It's like, okay, that's the validation of why you chose it that way. And that's what I try to explain to people. It's like, explain to me why you chose that business model. Like, why are you only doing that? Why would you do that? Right? So, and people inherently understand the basics of that. So you explain it. Then it becomes, can you do it? Right? And can you do it is just a basically of like, what happens next? Right? Like, I'm raising money. I need to raise $5 million to do this, this, this. Or it's like, my buddy who's the trainer would say, and it's like, I get paid directly by the studio. And I'm on a 9-month waiting list right now. Like, so you understand the process where it's like, you can't hire me directly. The studio has to hire me, and you got to get in line because I'm really good. Right? Like, or he would say, you know, you have to sign up my website. I have a course. You have to do that first. Right? Or, so it's like, if I was talking about me, I'd be like, you have to go through you have to have read my book before we get on the phone. Like, whatever it is, whatever your is, can this happen? Where it's like, it's available in 6 months, or if I do this now, the trial is going to come out then. Like, anything that says like, what's the next step? And can you actually do this? Meaning not you, the person pitching it, but them, the audience. Can they get involved? What's the process of them getting involved or being part of this, or what's next? Like, we got to start production next week. You got to say yes now. Or the next step is like, in pitching a Hollywood show, it'd be like, say yes, and we'll get you a budget, like that kind of thing. And so with those structures, what it does is it naturally leads your audience to be like, okay, now that I understand this stuff, I have valid questions. I have probing questions in my mind. And so it gives you one of 2 angles. Like, if you're still talking, because, you know, if you're on stage giving a presentation, you do your first 3 minutes that lays all that out and nails it out. And then you can sort of metaphorically move into like, okay, so now I'm going to answer some of the questions that you probably have. And I have trained CEOs to use that exact same phrase because it helps them get to the next phase. Now I'm going to pull up my scientific slide and show you how the process of posylation turns small molecules into good drug therapies. Like, or in the trainer, be like, now I'm going to show you how my workout plan works, right? Like, he hasn't said that before.
Yeah.
And now you're interested. I'm sorry, but like, you are interested. If you're listening to this right now, you're like, oh, I'd love to know what his workout plan is. But if he started with his, I'm telling you, if he started with his workout plan, you would have dismissed him. You wouldn't have heard it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have validated it. And like, by the time he gets to all this stuff, he'd be, but if he talked to you now, it's like, we start with 2 a day. This is why. Like, now all that nitty gritty, the stuff that those guys love to talk about. Like, you know what he wants to talk about? He wants to talk about workout plans and diet plans and systems, right? He doesn't want, like, and he'll tell you the story of Mickey Rourke and the drugs and there's so much involved there, right? But he doesn't talk about that in the beginning anymore. And my clients don't do that anymore. They get the details up front. They give people this natural thing, and it conveys such a layer of confidence. Because it's like, if you have this big company and you need me to buy something or invest, and you're just saying the basics right out front, it's like, wow, you must have your shit together. And that's what it conveys. And then it gets people involved and gets people excited. You can still have an hour meeting. That's the 3-minute rule will help you get an hour meeting that actually delivers something.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, right? Like, people, these aren't 3-minute meetings. Like, this is the 3-minute rule to the meeting. This is how you want to extend your meeting. Now, you don't get the 3-minute rule right. This could be a 10-minute meeting, and hey, how about a couple of get the hell out of here, right? Like, they're like done with you, right? Yeah, and I like to, going back to your investor guy, he instills the whack, and someone goes, hey, can I give you $3 million for 5% of this up and coming brand? Because this is what we're asking of, how do we get involved, right? How can I get involved? Okay, so I love it. All right, so the whole deal is whack. You got to get whack right.
Yeah, and the book sort of walks you through how to do. I have a great bullet point exercise that I use with Post-its. And so you're writing down your facts and you're figuring out, does it go in the W or the H, or the AC? That works really well. The structure is just so clean. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I did a lot of work in the Middle East and training a lot of companies. I work with Saudi Aramco, and one of their biggest problems is they have so many organizations inside that are building huge projects and all of these huge infrastructure projects. And they have these meetings to update and to ask for new things. Like, maybe the project's over, they need more money, or maybe they want to change this. Like, they have to do this every day. And their average meeting time is like 97 minutes, right? And that's one of their problems. And it's like, and they're a very formal society in that stuff. So I went in and trained a bunch of these divisions on how to make basically the presentation of, like, here's where we are. Here's what we're looking at doing it next. Here's what I need from you, the board, to sign on. And here's what I'm gonna do with it. And it's like, I put them through the whack method, and they were like, this is helping so much that now if you want a meeting for your monthly meeting, you have to go through the 3-minute rule whack checklist, put your meeting things in, and present in that form, so that the entire structure for them is like, because that's what they want to know as the board. They're like, tell us how it's going, tell us what you need from us and what we're going to get out of it. Like, I get all the other stuff. It was the same as last month's meeting, right? And so that framed structure it helps so much when you start to do that. It builds confidence. It makes your object, your business, product, or service so much more clear. It's more concise. It's more accurate. Like, it just changes the way people react to you.
I love it. Brant, perfect. It is the perfect story of our winning way, the whack method of the 3-minute rule, not only just changing the dynamics of pitching something you have, but changing meetings, changing the way we're communicating, changing the way we're storytelling. Brant Pinvidic, I love it. Winning Ways by Brant Pinvidic. Brant, tell them where they can find you.
I'm at brantpinvidic.com. You can find the book anywhere on Amazon, whatever, if you want to get a copy of the book. But I'm always open, love to chat, love to hear people's pitches. I like fixing them, all that kind of good stuff.
There you go. And if you want to see Brant live, come September 25th, Grand Rapids, Michigan. We're going to have an event there. If you want to spend time with Brant and I on an exclusive retreat, Northern Michigan, Torch Lake area, and Bel Air, Michigan, some golf, some pickleball, some big time learning, you're going to want to get in that, because that is all about growth and development. Your brand. It's incredible. It's a 3-day that you're not going to want to miss. That starts out on September 21st. So prior to Brant's showing in Grand Rapids. So love to have you there. And I will have that in the notes where you can register for that and find out more on that, on both of those opportunities to see Brant in person, man. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be
baby.
incredible.
Rock and roll.
Thank you so much for joining us on Winners Find a Way show in this special edition of Winning Ways with Brant Pinvidic. We'll see you next time.